Okay, so I'm Becky Tieger, and I first became aware of the Jewish Housing Association when I was a teacher at Brodetsky Primary School. I think my first contact was probably in relation to some of the families that I was working with in the school, and because they lived in housing association properties, we made connections. I would talk to new families as they arrived and understand what their circumstances were. So I had a sense of the housing association probably from quite early on in my time at Leeds. Then I was approached by Craig Simons and asked to become a trustee. And I think the thinking behind that was at that point we had a subcommittee for tenants, and there was a sense that my background in education and my awareness of some of the families that were living in housing association properties, that perhaps that expertise would be useful. It was just a huge eye-opener to realise the kind of diversity of people who were living in properties, to realise some of their circumstances, some of the reasons for people arriving in Leeds quite hurriedly because of circumstances that had meant they'd have to leave previous properties. And I think it was just a real awakening as to some of the challenges that people were living with, some of the circumstances that families were having to contend with, and what a difference having a safe and secure home made to them in terms of getting back on their feet, providing a safe and secure home for their children, and a base for people to start living, quality lives again. So I was involved as a trustee for quite some time, sitting on subcommittees, and was then asked to observe the board of management at the time. I'm really grateful to the Housing Association because they recognised potential in me. They saw me as a future leader and gave me an opportunity to observe and to see what being involved as a lay leader at a senior level really meant. And at the time I was fairly young as a trustee, so that was a real recognition of what I had to bring to the organisation, and that was lovely to have been recognised, and that my voice mattered in the conversation as somebody who was advocating for families and advocating for making really good choices for families to make sure that their place in the heart of the community was recognised. So I think the thing that really struck me was what difference the Housing Association was making for families who really needed that safety net, who, for whatever their circumstances, whether it was domestic abuse, financial issues, needing to be in the north of England and not necessarily having family connections, what a difference it meant to be able to find a safe place to live, a place that was affordable, a place where they could be accessing a Jewish primary school, accessing all of the facilities and support within the Jewish community, that without the Housing Association providing those homes would have been out of people's reach, either financially or practically. And also the additional support that comes with that, being so connected to the Jewish Welfare Board, being able to tap into the support through the school, through the zone. So I think without the Housing Association, our community wouldn't have the diversity that it has, it wouldn't have the richness, and it wouldn't have the range of perspectives, which is what makes our community in Leeds so unique. I think what makes such a difference for Jewish families is being able to have a home that's right in the heart of the Jewish community, physically, but also emotionally. There is something very special about being able to walk to a Jewish primary school, about being able to access community resources, community activities, to not feel that you're the poor relation within the community, to be able to have things on your doorstep, to feel connected, to see people that you know, to build relationships, to build a network, particularly for people who maybe through circumstances haven't felt connected into community before. I think that's really important, and without the Jewish Housing Association, I don't think people would feel that connection. Yeah, I don't think people should feel any sort of stigma about approaching the Jewish Housing Association if they're needing support. People's circumstances can change. A family member of mine approached the Housing Association when they were going through divorce, and for a short period of time they needed to know that they could still be in Leeds, still be close by for their children, and circumstances meant that they weren't in a position to be able to afford to do that otherwise. So I don't think anybody should feel a stigma around these things. Well, I'd like to wish the Leeds Jewish Housing Association huge mazel tov and congratulations on reaching the 70th anniversary. You're an extraordinary institution made up of some really extraordinary individuals who really do work tirelessly for their tenants, and to make sure that the profile of the Housing Association is so high and so well respected within Leeds and beyond. We're so lucky to have Leeds Jewish Housing, and I know that our community is so much richer for being able to provide those homes to keep our community connected.